I'm Stephanie Fisher, the Crafty Thinker. Today I'll be showing you how to make a half swing card. I'll provide all the measurements and will also post them on my blog. I'll include the link to the blog in the comments below. Okay, let's get started. So the first thing we're going to need to do is to cut our pieces of cardstock. In this instance I'm using one of the lovely new in colours for this couple of years, which is called Dapper Denim. It's a beautiful blue. So we're going to need one piece which is cut to 8.5 inches by 5.5 inches, and you're going to score that in half at 4.25 inches. The other piece is going to be 6.5 inches by 5.25 inches, and this is going to form the mechanism to the half swing card. And I'll show you how we're going to score that now. So, putting the longer edge along the top, I'm going to score that at 2 inches, 4 inches, and 6 inches. And that will leave us with a little edge here. So we can remove that now, and we can fold these. And use the bone folder. Get nice edges. And this one we're going to fold like a concertina. So this is going to be the back piece. So we're going to fold a valley. Then we're going to fold back on itself with a mountain. And then we're going to fold back one more time. Another little valley. So it's going to go in our card this way. And here we just want a little tab, so all I'm going to do is take my scissors and I'm going to cut in, not quite sure how much that is, but just a little bit from the edge, and same thing from the other end. And then I'm going to cut along the score line and remove this piece of flap. That's rubbish now. So now we have something that looks like that. So now we're going to cut the hole. Whichever shape you want. I'm going to do a square one today, but you can make any shape. Maybe not quite, actually thinking about that. Square or oblong's better because, well, you'll see why. So, to do that, I'm going to put the card here, and I'm going to use one of these new layering squares. And I'm going to put that down. I don't want it quite in the centre. I'm going to try and make an even area around here and leave a bigger area at the bottom here. But I'm also trying to leave enough space for a frame to go around it. So I don't have very straight eyes. I hope that's straight. So now we'll just run that through. And we can remove this, but we will keep this piece of this square piece of card because we'll use that to put back in this hole later. So now, while we've got this far, we might as well make the frame to go around here, and for that I'm going to use some, I'm not sure this is Sahara sand. Yes, it's Sahara sand. So to make the frame, I'm going to use the same square that we used to cut the hole in the front of the card, and I'm going to add a larger scalloped square, also from the layering square set. So I'm just going to pop them down on here, and they fit very nicely because I've used ones that are just one size up from the next one. They just fit into each other really nicely. And I'll run that through. I've got a square to keep for later here, and this is our frame. So I will now glue the frame to the front of the card. So now we've got this glued onto the front, we're ready to put our mechanism into here. So we need to put this piece here flat down on the back. I've just given it a quarter, I think maybe it's actually more of an 1/8 of an inch edge here. So glue that to there first. And probably any glue will do. I'm going to use Fast Fuse today. So this is Fast Fuse. Better make sure I put it in the right way round. So now we're just going to put this in here. So I'm just going to add some Fast Fuse to the tabs here. She says, hopefully. I've gone over the edge a bit, but that's okay, I can remove that. So with that flat and the flap sticking like that, all I have to do is close the card. And now those little flaps are going to be inside. I don't know if you can see that. And that's the mechanism. I'll just remove the glue that I've made a mess with. I love these erasers, they rescue so many situations. So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to take the piece that we cut out and we're going to glue this back into the hole. Now, if you want to change it up, you don't have to use the same piece that you cut out. You could use a different colour. I mean, obviously you wouldn't choose necessarily the same colour as your frame, but you could put anything in here. It doesn't have to just be, as long as it's the same size, it doesn't have to be the piece you just cut out. So I'm going to add some of this glue. I'm going to keep it closed so I know where to put the glue, and I'm going to glue on this flap through the aperture here so that the square will sit back onto and just glue onto that side. Put that back into the hole. And now what happens is it's stuck onto this this piece here. When it's closed, it looks like a normal card, and then people get a bit of a surprise when they open it up because this piece swings through. So now I'm just going to cut a piece of Whisper White to put in here and put my greeting on it. So this piece of Whisper White I have cut to 1 7/8 inches by 5 1/8 inches, so that it will just sort of layer inside the back here. Before I glue it in though, I'm going to stamp it with my birthday greeting. So this is the stop patting so I don't make so much noise. This is the happy birthday greeting from Tin of Cards. Make sure I get that nice and wonky. I have a notoriously crooked eye. I must have been standing at the back of the queue when straight eyes were handed out. I'm just going to hold that down for a little while to let the ink absorb. And there we have, not a very perfect one, is it? I think I'll try that again. And that's why we have two sides to the card. Okay, one more shot at this. That's better. I am much happier. I'm just going to run the heat tool over that to make sure that the ink's dry before I start handling it too much. So now that it's dry, I'm just going to turn it over, put some snail on it. Cover over the boo-boo. And pop that in the back here. Okay, so now we've got our happy birthday greeting on there. And all that remains to do is to decorate this. So I've decided I'm going to use some of these beautiful vintage leaves, sort of spread around on here. So just to show you quickly how I made these leaves that I'm going to use, I'm just going to make one. This is a piece of Cajun Craze cardstock. I've put it down on the stamping pierce mat because I'm going to use a photopolymer stamp from this set here, Vintage Leaves, which I just adore. And this is one of the beautiful stamps. And this will help, the stamping pierce mat helps, especially I find with the bigger or more detailed of the photopolymer stamps, just to get a better image. So I'm just using the black ink, and then I'm going to just push it down onto the cardstock, and there we have our image. So now that we've got that image, we can use one of the fantastic dies that match, and that simply sits on top. And if we bring back the big shot, we can just, oops, I'm not quite in the picture, here we go. It's very easy to line these up. And you simply run them through the big shot. Couldn't really be any easier, could it? So here's my leaves. I'm going to keep their colouring quite simple. I'm just going to sponge them with sponge daubers, and I do label my sponge daubers so I don't get confused and put them in the wrong ink. And I've got a selection of inks here. I've got the Dapper Denim, one of the new inks. I've got Early Espresso, Cajun Craze, and Pumpkin Pie. And I'm simply going to sponge bits on and see what happens and try and get some nice autumnal leaves. So as you can see, there wasn't much rhyme or reason to that. I just splodged on colours really, and hopefully they look kind of autumnal. We're not going to use all of them for sure, but I like to have choices. So I've stamped the numbers 7 and 0 from the number of years stamp set, and I experimented a bit with what colour to do them, and in the end I used, this is the Sahara Sand cardstock, and I used the early espresso ink, and it didn't quite have for me enough oomph, so I'm now just adding, I don't know if you can see it, it's so pretty in reality, but it doesn't pick up on camera very well. I'm adding some gold Wink of Stella just to give it a little bit more richness and oomph. I'm sure that's a technical word, isn't it? Oomph. I've gone over the edge there a bit because I'm rushing now, but I don't think that really matters. I'm going to cut them out. So, and if it does, I'll just make all of the edges like that. There are no mistakes in stamping. Okay, so now that I've done that, I'm going to go and get my matching framelits and cut those out. So these are matching framelits from the large numbers framelits. Makes it a cinch to cut out these numbers. I can even do them at the same time. You may notice that when I was sponging, I dabbed my fingernails into the ink as well as the sponge. So now I've got disgusting fingernails, but I shall wear it with pride. I'm a stamper. Okay, so how easy was that? So you've got the number. I think I'll put them maybe something like that, and I think I need to put them on top of the leaves. So I'll do the leaves first, and then I will put the 70 on top, and that's really all there is to it. I shall play around with my leaves and come back and show you the finished thing. So here we have the finished product. I stuck all my leaves on here, and the one thing to be careful when you're sticking things on that go out of the square, as it were, on something like this, is to every time you stick something on, just to open up the card to make sure you haven't fouled the mechanism. So that's why they're all kind of clustered over here, because I can still open the card with them on there. So they're all stuck down there, and I added, because I thought it needed something under the numbers, I added a Tangelo twist frame, which I used using this lots of tags and labels framelit. And then I stamped this sentiment onto some more of the Sahara Sand cardstock, and I stamped it with this greeting from the new set Mixed Borders, which is coming out in the next annual catalogue. And I simply hand cut a little banner shape into it to make it a bit more interesting on there. And that's really the end of what's in that card. And so open it up, it says happy birthday. I hope you enjoyed that. I should just say before I finish, this is not my original design for the card. I don't really know who to attribute it to. I've got the name Linda Bowen written down here, so I may have learnt it from her, but I think other people have done it too. So anyway, whoever the clever person was that made that, that's amazing. And all I've done is embellished it really. Hope you enjoy it. Bye.